Hey, what's up everybody? Just wanted to do a video, kind of a partial review, partial rant, partial mystery, partial tech thing, just whatever you want to consider this video. It's kind of random. So anyway, if you watch my vlog videos, which I haven't done one in a long time, I haven't done much of anything in a long time, but I talked about this guy, which I have had for a long time. Oh, feels like a long time anyway. This is a Logitech M570 trackball mouse, and for some reason, after over 2 years of use, it just stopped working. This little green light here, let me see if I can get it to come on. It doesn't seem to want to come on, but that light would come on. I think it comes on only when you first use the mouse after a while, or turn it on, but this light would just be on constantly no matter what I did, so the mouse would never actually do anything. It was just useless, completely paralyzed. No matter what computer I used, no matter what receiver I used, it just would not work. And that pissed me off because I love this mouse. I used it for years. I had no problems with it, and it just died. So I switched back to this guy, and you know, you get used to a trackball mouse and an ergonomic mouse at all. Something like this is just untenable. I mean, especially for gaming, this is just not comfortable. The sides are sharp. You know, I had an older version of this basic mouse that was built a little better, but this is just a tiny, tiny mouse. And it's not bad for basic use, but for what I do, it's just not enough. It's just simply not enough. So this was not gonna work. So I picked up, I wanted this again. This is just what I wanted. This is exactly the mouse that I want. But I picked up this because I didn't want to buy another wireless mouse of this because I knew it would just have the same problem eventually. I figured if I can limit that issue, it would be great. Maybe get 5 years out of it or something, or more than that even. So I picked up the wired version, basically of the same mouse, but it actually is not really that similar because it's a larger mouse completely. Let me move over this thing here, which we'll get to. This mouse is a lot bigger. Well, it's not a lot bigger, but it definitely is bigger than this one. As you can see, different shape somewhat, fairly similar shape, but you can see the differences in the shape, and a little bit different up there too. And obviously you can tell there's these two side buttons here. They're gone on this. They're not the best buttons, they're kind of cheap, but they did work just fine for me. They never died, and I always had these assigned to different functions in Windows, and they were actually extremely useful, and losing them, I didn't realize how much I used them until I lost them. And so that was kind of a bummer, but at that point I didn't really care so much. But what did matter was the quality of the ball. And to me, this ball is much inferior to that one. It's just completely inferior for a couple of reasons. One being just smoothness. It's almost like this ball is getting snagged on something constantly. Like it's just not smooth. Like, so when you're aiming in a game or even just trying to select something, there's like resistance. It's like it's gritty, rough feeling. Like it's really weird. It's hard to describe, but it's just not smooth at all. Trying to be precise with this is very difficult. It's nowhere near the same as this ball, which was nice and smooth and was just fine. Obviously the contacts get dirty on all these things, so you had to clean it regularly, and that was kind of jarring at times. Also, I know it's all fucked up, the video quality is no good, but this is that way I had to do this video. And I didn't like that. And another thing that really pissed me off, speaking of that, you have to clean it all the time. Flip this over, look at that receiver. That's where you pop the ball out, then look at that. Boom. You have to use a tool to open this, or to pop this out, I mean. You can't really do it with your hands. If you grip really, really hard, you can sometimes get it to come out, but that's not easy and it's not consistent to do, and I don't want to screw it up by doing that. It probably wouldn't, but it's just a bitch. This thing though, you can pop it out with a finger or your thumb even. if you got a smaller thumb, but definitely any finger will work to pop that ball out, no problem. So cleaning it is nice and easy. It's also a lot smoother in here, so it flies out easier. If it gets stuck down in there, you can just pop it right out with any little piece of metal or whatever you got. Paper clip, that's what I used. But so it was a downgrade to me, complete downgrade, and the scroll wheel is a lot louder. Maybe it's not a lot louder, it's just a more obnoxious noise. And the button clicks aren't quite as nice, and the buttons aren't as big, and they don't have that kind of groove. Well, it does have that, but it's not nearly as large. It goes along the whole surface this time, and it's just a little divot there. So I thought this was a big downgrade myself. If I had used this first, I probably would have been fine with it, and if I would have gotten one that doesn't have this weird feeling with the ball, but this is just unusable. Like, if you see how that rolls. Big difference. So I was unsatisfied with that, and I knew I had to replace it because I was getting into some games that required, namely Call of Duty 2. If you play COD 2, or even United Defensive, really, you know, people are using rifles exclusively almost in that game, and you have to have good aim. This was not working, and this was too uncomfortable to use. Now I have other mice, such as down there's an HP, but it's a similar shape to this, and it's just no good. So I decided, you know, I need another mouse. I really do. So stuff like that's no good, of course, for that. But so instead of just buying another one of these, I decided I would try a traditional mouse that was more ergonomic. And this was the best thing that I found. I almost bought an older version of this mouse. It's called an MX500, but the rubber material on the side was all destroyed, and that was another thing that frustrated me on this. There's that rubber piece there. No such thing on there, and of course anything old and rubber like that, it just gets ruined over time. And I accidentally scratched this thing, but it just gets destroyed. I had a Microsoft Internet Explorer mouse, or whatever the hell, Microsoft IntelliMouse Explorer. I'm really screwed up right now, sorry, but I had one of those, and the rubber, it ruined the whole mouse. So this has hard plastic though, because it's a newer version of it, and they decided to change that, which I really do appreciate. And overall, this is actually a nice mouse. This is an MX518 Legendary. It is a really nice mouse. I like the way it looks. Although I wish that it had the old Logitech logo, because that looks kind of dumb to me. But it's not a bad looking mouse. I don't mind the way this feels actually on the side here. The buttons, for some reason I can't get it to work with the software. I still have to look into that. But the DPI buttons work just fine. Scroll wheel is acceptable. It is kind of loud, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And the grip's pretty good. And in terms of tracking, smoothness, and speed, brilliant. Excellent on this mouse. So no problem there. So for that stuff, it's all fine. The only problem is, and this is really bugging the hell out of me, this glossy surface. I have pretty sweaty hands when I use controllers or mice or whatever. This is becoming absolutely unusable day or two in. It also builds up grime really easily because of that, but my fingers are so slippy, and it just makes it go really slick with sweat, and it's covered after a very short period of time, and it's almost unusable because my fingers feel like they're going to slip, and it's irritating more than anything. It just bugs the hell out of me. I always have to take my hand off the mouse and rub it on my pants or whatever surface, just because my hands are so sweaty and it collects on here, and it's just horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So that's unfortunate. Like, so if I'm going to review this mouse, I probably won't show it in a pickups video because of this, but it's really smooth. The bottom's nice. Everything about it is nice, and you can actually see that laser in there, blue laser. But I just can't get over that. And I was so irritated today trying to play with this thing. I was just so frustrated with the whole situation and the idea of having to buy yet another mouse just because of something so stupid and silly like that if I couldn't get used to it. So, you know, I thought maybe I should just try buying one of these again. And I was just looking at it. I just pulled it out to see. I was wondering if I could maybe get a used one and just swap the whole shell out, because I don't want to use somebody else's shell. But it would be easy enough to just swap it. So you know, I just got kind of curious and I decided to plug it in and see if it would do the same damn thing as before. It works just fine. It's like, what the fuck? And you can see my... Yeah, works just fine. It's like, what the hell? And I plugged it into the Mac, works just fine. I used a different battery, works just fine. Now we're going to actually look, this is a brand new battery, I'm kind of curious to see what it'll say. Yep, battery full. You probably can't read that, but... Yep, 31 days. It should probably actually report more than that, but this thing's kind of inconsistent. There you go. M570 comes right up. Bam. There you go. I use Setpoint because the G-Hub sucks and Logitech gaming software wasn't that great either. But for some reason, Setpoint doesn't work with this mouse. I don't know why that is. It should, but it doesn't. So, it's one of those mysterious things, you know, it just randomly started working again. I don't know how much longer it's going to work. I'm really afraid that it's just going to die on me. I am going to use it till it dies again. But, there you go. Just fucking back from the dead for some reason. I just find that really amusing. I tried playing a bit of COD 2 with it and it seems to work alright. I almost noticed a bit of stuttering, but I think that's just my computer being a piece of shit because it's been really slow the past few days for some reason. But I just wanted to do a video kind of talking about that because I thought it was wild, especially that this thing revived itself. And yes, I'm going over 10 minutes on my Canon camera. If you notice, it's a lower frame rate because I'm trying to test out here. So if it makes you sick, actually do let me know if the frame rate bothers you because I won't do it in the future, but I'm trying to get a longer time out of this camera. Because my flip's a piece of crap as well. All my text just junk for some reason, but there you go. There's your Logitech mouse. I haven't tried the finger balls too much. I have one of them, the old Logitech one. That's like famous with the big red ball in the middle, but I could never get used to that thing, so it's just in storage. I don't even know where the hell it is by now. But yeah, so I give a big thumbs up to the M570. I would almost give a big thumbs up to this, but this is just untenable to me, this glossy surface that just gets destroyed by sweat. So, there you go. There's me bitching about mice. When my next video will be, I don't know. I really have no idea, but I just wanted to do this quick one, so catch you guys later.